Guys, in the history of this channel, I have come to you with straight reaction videos. That's kind of where this channel began, just reacting to the news stories. I came to you with completely scripted videos 2 years ago when I very first uh, got some sort of size to this channel. I was scripting all of my videos. In the time since, I've become more comfortable talking about these things, and I have kind of decided to move away from scripting and will make videos on the fly, not necessarily on the fly. I've got notes, but really not scripting anything. I have recently added to my repertoire um, the live stream, which I'm very, very bad at, but I am trying. Never in the 5 years that I have done this, never I've come to you with reactions. I've never come to you with an astonishment video. Guys, look at me when I say this. Brett Veach is not screwing around. Perhaps my memory is not serving me correctly. Perhaps I am misremembering things from the past. Maybe we just have more media access to these things than we have previously had. What I am bringing to you today is the Kansas City Chiefs 2024 rookie minicamp positional roster. And there are 74 names on this. I don't know if there is a limit to the number of names that a team can bring in. I don't know. I was under the impression that these things were like 30 players, 40 players, maybe 50. I had no idea that this was an entire college roster. So strike me down in the comments if I am incorrect and that these have been 74 players every year that these have been done. But we're going to go through this and we're going to, I don't even know. We're going to react. I don't even know. So as far as quarterbacks are concerned, Brennan Armstrong out of North Carolina State, Chris Oladokun, who has been a Kansas City Chief, and Spencer Sanders, who was the UDFA that we knew about, but apparently has not signed with the Kansas City Chief. As you see, his number is highlighted in green, and that designates a rookie minicamp tryout. Now, the fact that Chris Oladokun is here, I don't think is all that strange. I believe again, I don't know the rules on this, but from what I remember, you were allowed to bring, or it is not unusual to bring a quarterback to this rookie minicamp so that you have an arm to throw things around. I don't know that 3 quarterbacks at the rookie minicamp when there is absolutely no quarterback battle is all that usual. So I think Chris Oladokun might be getting the okie doke straight out of Kansas City if there is a serviceable arm available. This strikes me as unusual. Moving on to running backs, the Kansas City Chiefs are bringing 8 running backs to rookie minicamp. Now, I feel obligated to tell you that Carson Steele and Imani Bailey will be getting their own UDFA videos here on the channel, assuming they make it through the rookie minicamp and they are not immediately cut afterwards. If they do, each of those guys will get their own rookie-style video. If you have been keeping up with the channel lately, there are videos on every pick from this recent NFL draft on the channel, broken down into an introduction, a who portion of the video where I talk about who that player is, what that player is capable of, a strengths and weaknesses part of that video, talking about obviously the strengths and weaknesses that player has, and the conclusion of each of those videos is an analysis portion where I talk about how I think that player is going to fit on to the Kansas City Chiefs. So from Xavier Worthy all the way through. Where is he here? Oh, no, is he not in? Oh, C.J. Hansen. There we go. I was looking at the wrong color on the numbers there. C.J. Hansen, the final pick in the draft for the Kansas City Chiefs. They all already have videos. So if you see players that you want me to make a video about, suggest it in the comments. And if I get the time to make the video here, so I'm going to talk about some of the interesting people here. It is interesting to me that Imani Bailey is 7'5". I thought he was a smaller back. Ayo Trichinosis here is, I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't make fun of names, though there is one name on here, which is, I know him, Trill Williams, because that is one of my favorite names of all time, Trill Williams. That is a great name. But in the running backs, I believe wholeheartedly that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is currently a Kansas City Chief. Guys, I'm not so positive that last. Deneric Prince looked very good in camp last year. Deneric Prince has a lot of things that CEH does not. When you talk about a guy that could replace Jerick McKinnon, I think Imani Bailey could be that type of running back. When you talk about a guy that could take some of the snaps away from Isaiah Pacheco in short yardage situations, that could be Carson Steele. So I think there are a couple guys right here in the UDFAs. See, they're 42 and 39, both in blue for UDFAs. Those guys, I think, have a legitimate shot at making the roster. I'm not going to call it. I don't think that it's necessarily that for sure. So nothing like that. But I think it's possible. Phillip Brooks and Reggie Brown are the UDFA as far as the wide receiver position is concerned. Does anyone know anything about Zach McCarron Mathis, 6'7", 203 pounds, out of North Dakota State? I was not able to really find anything on him. Jarrett Garner out of East Carolina is an interesting name, 6'3", 208 pounds. I do not know Daniel George from Akron, 6'2", 210 pounds. Xavier Worthy, obviously 6'1", 112 pounds. Harry Van Dyne, 6'5", 220, listed as a wide receiver out of Indiana State from Overland Park, Kansas. So if anyone is familiar there, let me know. That is intriguing size, especially if he is to be kept at wide receiver. I'm assuming there is a little bit of wiggle and or speed to him. So it'd be interesting to look into there. Here's one thing I did not know, which is something which would have changed recently if it's true. Jared Wiley here listed at 6'7", 260 pounds. I saw him listed at 249, 250, 253. If he is up to 260, that is a massive deal, actually. Baylor Cupp is a very intriguing name. Baylor Cupp is an intriguing name not because of anything he's done on the field as far as receiving is concerned, but this could, Baylor Cupp, be a Blake Bell replacement. Blake Bell kind of fell off the map last year, if we're being honest with ourselves, and Baylor Cupp could come in and usurp that position. I think he is likely to spend a year on the practice squad if he is to do such a thing, but I think that he has the physicality to do it. He is, if memory serves me, much faster than Blake Bell. So it might be that he cannot be a receiving tight end. It might be that he was just misutilized at Texas Tech. Jorquarius Spivey is someone with whom I am not familiar, but I feel obligated to familiarize myself. Jalen Cunningham on the offensive line, 6'5", 330 pounds, out of Arkansas State. Great googly moogly. That thing is juicy. Ethan Driscoll is a guy that I believe is going to be getting his own video. I will have to do a little bit more research. I think that he's someone who might end up at guard, listed there at 6'9". In reality, he's 6'8" and change. Okay, so don't brag, Ethan. 6'8", 329 pounds. I think that obviously, being that he is 6'9" and sub 330, he has space to add more weight. It is. I don't know what they're going to do with it. He's not someone who works well in space. So I think that a move into guard might be something that awaits him. Obviously, CJ Hansen, Hunter Nourzad, and Kingsley Suamatea already have their own videos on the channel. McCade Mettauer out of Oklahoma is another player that might get his own video. I'm going to have to go back. I don't know that I really believe he has the athleticism, if I'm thinking of the right guy. Now, this is 74 names, so I beg your pardon if I do confuse a player or two. McCade Mettauer. I don't know that I believe he necessarily has the athleticism to stick in the... Guys, 11 offensive linemen the Kansas City Chiefs are bringing in for a rookie minicamp. Nick Torres is an interesting name out of Villanova. He's a little bit older, so I'm not sure if that is exactly what Brett Veach is looking for, but I don't know about Nick Torres. I will go back and look back into him again. Linebacker. 9 linebackers for the Kansas City Chiefs, despite the fact that they only lost one, right? I mean, it was just Willie Gay they lost, if I'm remembering things correctly. Swayze Bozeman is interesting out of Southern Mississippi. Joseph Andreessen is an interesting name out of the University of Buffalo. Curtis Jacobs is going to get his own video for sure. Bryce Houston, if I'm remembering correctly, is a guy that looked like he was going to be NFL bound his first couple years in college, and sort of plateaued, if I'm remembering things correctly. The Kansas City Chiefs are bringing in 15 defensive backs. Brett Veach might have a fetish because that's a lot of defensive backs. If you have 0 on your roster, the Kansas City Chiefs have a loaded roster, and they're bringing in a rookie minicamp, 15 defensive backs. Good on you. Good on you. Miles Battle is definitely getting his own video. It's interesting to me. There are 0 listed cornerbacks. There is 1 safety in Trey Dean. Everyone else is designated as a defensive back. Trey Dean, if you look at what happens on the field, Trey Dean can absolutely be an NFL talent. If you look at the testing, Trey Dean is not an NFL talent. But football is played between the white lines. And there is, I think, every reason to believe that between Trey Dean and Jaden Hicks, the safety position this season for the Kansas City Chiefs is going to be even better than it was last year. Oh, golly. One of the very well-respected, I believe he was a former player, but maybe he was a former scout. Anyway, one of the very well-respected names in NFL analysis and especially draft analysis, whose name I am blanking right now, sent a tweet out shortly following the draft saying that the Kansas City Chiefs got younger and better in the secondary again, and then finished that tweet with something to the effect of "fight me" or something like that. for Louis Riddick, I believe is who it was. For Louis Riddick to send out the tweet shortly after trading L'Jarius Sneed and not drafting a cornerback in the first, second, third, fourth, or fifth rounds, Louis Riddick sends out a tweet saying that the Kansas City Chiefs secondary is getting younger and better. That's impressive. That is impressive. Now, he's basically exclusively talking about the safety position. Kamal Hadden to factor into that equation, what you are suggesting is that you're suggesting that Trent McDuffie slides up to the number one cornerback in essence. He's not going to play that role on the field, but in essence, Trent McDuffie slides up to that number one cornerback role. Whoever takes Trent McDuffie's space is not that much worse than Trent McDuffie, be that Joshua Williams or Jalen Watson. And then Kamal Hadden will fill in somewhere on that depth chart in a way that shrinks the difference between L'Jarius Sneed and whoever is the new face on the roster. So there's that. Chris Roland Wallace will get his own video. Derek Miller is another one of the UDFA. I don't know about Derek Miller. I've already made videos about Trey Dean, so if you want to know my thoughts on Trey Dean, you will have to get that video quickly because I have to delete a lot of my old stuff in order to get back onto YouTube's good side, but I'm not doing that yet. One of the measurables here that stands out, Derek Slywka, Slywka, out of Ithaca. 6'3", 215 pounds at defensive back. I'll have to look into that. I don't know if it's worth making a video over, but we will figure it out. What is the orange vet tryout? Yeah, so that's where Trill Williams is a veteran. He was in the NFL last year. The reason Trey Dean is not orange is because he has a contract with the Kansas City Chiefs. Defensive line. Guys, Fabian Levette here, number 99. 6'3", 316 pounds out of Florida State. I feel very comfortable telling you Fabian Levette will be on the roster. Fabian Levette will get his own video on the channel. Fabian Levette will be a Kansas City Chief on the active roster in the 2024 season. I feel could be wrong, might be wrong. I feel very comfortable coming to you with that opinion. If you do not know Fabian Levette, look into him, and you will come to the same conclusion that I have come to. It is maybe a little bit troubling for me to see Truman Jones here suggesting that he is on the tryout end of things. I am a very firm believer in Truman Jones, 6'4", 250 pounds. I think, top of my head, that means he put on 7 pounds. I believe he was a 243-pounder last season. So good to see him putting on weight. Bad to see the coaching staff feels it is necessary for him to prove things in a tryout, if that is actually what is going on here. Maybe he's just getting some extra reps. I don't know. It is always interesting to see SEC names here. So Jordan Strachan out of South Carolina, 6'5", 243 pounds, but I believe he must have been a redshirt senior at 25 years old. Be interesting to see what happens there. Devin Phillips, 6'2", 315 pounds out of Kansas. If I'm remembering correctly, a lot of people thought he was going to be drafted. Where are we at here? An interesting name or two for the defense that the Kansas City Chiefs run for that Spags unit. Jesus Gibbs, 6'4", 275 pounds, out of Townsend. Do not know what his measurables look like. Deshaun McCarthy, 6'4", 265 pounds, out of East Stroudsburg. Interesting from the size perspective. A bit of a tweener here. Alex Gubner, 6'3", 284 pounds. We get down to the specialists here, and you have Matt Araiza. He's going to instantly be in contention for the best punter in the NFL if the time away from the game did not damage his skill set. Matt Araiza, formerly known as Punt God in college. Interesting that Ryan Reckow was also picked up. 6'4", 235 pounds. If it doesn't work out as a punter, we might have a spot at linebacker. But Ryan Reckow was a guy that I thought might get drafted. So that's two punters right there. The Kansas City Chiefs, I don't think they're going to need Ryan Reckow, so that is unfortunate. They might be of the opinion to keep one on the practice squad because you have the extra slots. I don't know why necessarily you would do that, but always, it's never bad to have a leg around, right? Noah Rauschenberg, a kicker out of North Texas, and William Mote, a long snapper out of Georgia. So, guys, those are the 74 names the Kansas City Chiefs are bringing in for their rookie tryout camp. I don't know that I have ever seen 74 names. Maybe I'm wrong. This seems excessive, and it is definitely a sign to me that Brett Veach is not giving up, that Brett Veach is going for the jugular, and that Brett Veach wants this three-peat. Again, if there are any players that you want to see on the channel and get their own videos, let me know. This is an incredible collection of names.